cacti and succulent growers, it's Lynn, and in today's video I'm going to be potting up my little Astrophytum coahuilense, and this little cutie here is one that I got from my wonderful friend Derek Klusky, who lives here in Ireland. And Derek has grown this little beauty from seed. He's absolutely incredible at growing from seed and has the most amazing cactus collection that I've ever seen. One of the best in Ireland anyway. So here we go. This is a little cutie, and thank you, Derek, for this. For a few years ago, Derek was very kindly gave me quite a few plants at the time, and I got quite a lot of them in the polytunnel at the moment, growing well. And this is one that I have to pot on. I potted it into this little tiny pot at the time because it was a young seedling, and it has grown quite a lot. As you can see, it's desperate to be potted up because it's touching all the sides. And I've got one of these little square pots, which is the next size up. It's going to be perfect, give it more space to grow around now, because Astrophytum sort of grow quite wide. And those of you who know my channel know that I have quite a lot of Astrophytum cacti in my collection, from some small ones to some much bigger ones, and some I've had for anything from sort of 5 years up until 27 years, such as my old Astrophytum a Capricorn, my Astrophytum ornatum. And this little cutie I'm going to be really enjoying repotting, so I'll put the label aside. And here is the soil mix I've made up here. Now, if I was potting this little Astro into a much bigger pot, it was one of my older Astros, I sometimes use a tiny pinch of limestone in the soil, because that sort of helps with certain types of cacti, including Astrophytums. But because I'm only really potting this up into a little sized pot, no doubt I'll have to pot this up again next year. I'm just using my traditional cactus mix, which is a very well draining soil of around 3 equal parts of loam, sharp sand, horticultural sand, and pumice. But if you don't have pumice, sometimes I use grit. If I don't have grit, I'll use perlite. I sort of prefer to use pumice because it doesn't float up to the surface like perlite does, which can be a little bit annoying. But use whatever you can get hold of, really. Things are not as easy to get hold of these days, I notice. And the loam-based soil I've used is a John Innes variety, and it's by a brand called Clover. And I find that sort of the best type of quality of John Innes at the moment, because it's not easy to get good quality John Innes either. So 3 equal parts. The most important thing is that you use a very well draining soil, and I mention that with all of my videos. So here we go. Going to take this out of its little pot, check over the root system, and then get potting it up. So this is going to be very easy to repot, so hopefully it won't be too long of a video for you guys. And obviously I don't need to worry about protecting my hands, because this Astrophytum coahuilense is one that doesn't have any spines, or very tiny anyway. So it's so easy to repot, and it's tiny. But as I often mention with my repotting videos, obviously if you're repotting a very spiny cactus, you do need to protect your hands with either sheets of newspaper or some thin card, or anything that is going to protect your hands. So bear that in mind. This I don't have to worry about. And I'll just give it a bit of a squeeze. These little tiny pots, they're absolutely brilliant. I get them from, I think it's Poundland or Pound Stretcher, Deals, them type of places. And they're actually shot glasses for drinks, but they work so well for young cacti, as long as you just put a little hole in the bottom. Perfect for young seedlings as well. So gently squeeze right there to get it out. Woohoo! Check as you can see, I'm using pretty much the same soil as well. It's already got pumice and the John Innes in, and the grit, and the sand. Look at that, great little root system. And that's brilliant, because when I did pot this up the first time, it had the tiniest of root systems, and that is very good. And the roots are quite loose. As you can see, the soil is falling out easily. It's dry. So this is also important when you're repotting on cacti, to use dry soil. It doesn't have to be totally dry if you're repotting such as spring or summer, such as now. But I don't like to use wet soil, because cacti are very rot prone if you're using wet soil, and you're obviously repotting them, and the roots are going to get disturbed. I don't need to disturb these roots at all. Just give a bit of a shake to get the old soil off. No problem there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of soil into the bottom. Ha-ha. And I can actually reuse some of this grit. This is mostly sort of grit and pumice as well. I can just reuse that into that because it's practically the same rather than waste it. I'm going to very gently then push that in like so. Gently rest it. And then I can then put the soil around. This has to be probably one of the easiest ones I've had to repot, guys, as you can tell. No problem here. And then very carefully press the soil around. These little square pots are brilliant. I think we got these from our friend Stephen at the Cactus Society here. They're just perfect for these type of shape cacti as well. Very gently press it in. Then I've got these little dabbers as well, which helps. If it was a bigger pot, I'd get tapping it to get the soil out, but this is fine. I can just gently press it in there. No problem at all. And people often ask me, do I top dress plants? Well, I do with some of them, sometimes I don't. It's not a necessity. It does finish the plants off nice, but I don't need, because I use a very gritty soil anyway, as you can see, I don't really worry about that, but it's entirely a personal choice. So, here we go. Much better now, it's got more space. And as I always mention when I'm repotting cacti, that I always like to leave the soil dry for at least 10 days to 2 weeks after repotting, and that's purely because just to let the roots settle into the new fresh soil and into the bigger pot. And this is sort of important, especially if you have to do a lot of removing a lot of the old soil from the roots where the roots get disturbed. This is going to be fine. That's absolutely perfect there. Little cutie, as you can see. And just put the label in. Astrophytum coahuilense, Derek. And I always write the names of the plant on the labels of the plants that people give me, so I know where they've come from in the future. Little sweetie. So I won't be watering that for at least 2 weeks. And it's sort of late summer here now, and the best time to repot a cactus, I tend to more so do it in the spring and the summer. I don't like to repot when they're coming into bud and things like that, because it can sometimes make them drop the buds. But I know many growers, and even myself, I have repotted sort of late winter as well. And I even know many growers here who repot in the winter because they say that's when they have more time to do it in the winter, when there's not much else to do with the plants. The trick is to use dry soil, and when you pot them up, not to water them. If you're repotting in winter, don't water them until the following growing season. So this is, I may have to carry on doing some repottings in winter this year, because there's no way I'm going to have a chance to get everything I wanted to get repotted this summer. It's going too fast. The summer's just gone too fast for me. So a little cutie there. And if you want to see a complete tour of our Astrophytum collection, then do check out a video I've made on our Astrophytum collection tour. Links to that video will be up above and down below. And if you want to know how to repot a cactus, this is very easy. But I show an example on my how to repot a cactus video of 2 sort of spiny examples. Do check that video out. Link to that video will also be up above and down below in the video description. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And for lots more tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Do click that notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon. And for more growing tips as well, do check out my articles and blogs on my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic Astrophytum powered day. Little cutie, thank you for repotting me, Miss Lynn.